Hey guys, you're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the corruption detector, and this is your Red Pill news. I had to throw out my entire video. Tried to upload it like 4 times. YouTube didn't like what I was putting out there. Well, that's okay, because I got some bombshell information from a confidential source. This is coming from someone who is very close to the situation and well-informed and has the goods. An undisclosed location. I was going to say the state, but they have connections to learn about what is going on. Before I get into the updates on the METHYLENE SPEC OPS, which is what I'm talking about, some Anon had put together some amazing things regarding the sighting of the missing SCOTUS from the other night. Now, they asked the question, can someone point me to where tickets were given out or sold for the 4th of February concert where this SCOTUS was apparently supposed to have been? If you missed it earlier today, questions were raised about whether the concert even happened due to the National Museum for Arts and Patrice Michaels had no concert scheduled for that day. They still don't, and nothing to recognize that there was even a concert there. You can go check out these links yourself, and it's true. There is no concert that was scheduled for that day. Specifically, definitely, even more so, not about one having to do with the Supreme Court Justice. So notice there's no published date for this. Kind of found it weird, so I went to the archives for their website. How about that? The first instance of this shows up on February 5th. Well, maybe the NWMA and the Constitution Center just forgot to update their websites, right? Well, how did people even know there was a concert? How did students in the high school from Philadelphia know to drive all the way down to D.C. to attend this special concert in their honor? Well, maybe the local newspapers knew something, right? How about that? Even the local notices were on 4th of February, same day as the concert. Well, maybe they published it super early in the day. The schools just jumped on board and got several busloads of students to attend the concert at 7 p.m. Except the archive shows up on 5th of February at 10:30 a.m. Well, it specifically states that the article was published 11 hours ago. So this article telling people about the live stream that was happening at 7 didn't come out until 11:30 p.m. on the 4th of February? Well, that's very interesting. So let's just put it all together here. The NMWA does not recognize that a concert happened on their webpage or in their archives. Patrice Michaels' own calendar has no concert on the 4th of February. Articles were written to publicize the event and didn't come out until after the event. Well, that means that nothing happened. There was no concert on February 4th, and there was absolutely no proof of life for that missing SCOTUS. Now, next, moving on to the activity in Los Angeles. Now, we've been speculating all week. What was it? What happened? What did they pull out of that building? Well, one thing that I did notice, and that my source actually pointed out to me as well, was that all of the official activity was in Long Beach. That's where all the pretty videos came. That's where the chopper was that was filming it. That's where the sanctioned media took place. That's where it was, in Long Beach. But all of the cell phone video is from L.A., and that's from the Guatemalan House of Culture. Now, this right here is the Port of Los Angeles. Very interesting. Now, we're going to cycle back to the Port of Los Angeles at the end of this discussion. But here we have some new videos from Los Angeles. Let's go ahead and take a listen. Just thought you might want to see that. Now, here we go back to the video of the special ops guys carrying whatever it was out of that building, perhaps in hazmat suits, perhaps some type of high-value target, maybe a biological or radiological, something like that. Let's take a look. Okay, so we can see they are coming down Wilshire Boulevard, I believe. Right there, that building with that outcropping up top, that's the Guatemalan House of Culture. Now, right directly across from them is the law offices of Girardi, the guy who owns the Guatemalan House of Culture. Now, those guys are coming out, jumping in their helos, and then it's this second group that comes out carrying the potentially biological high-value target. But they jump in, they get out, and then they take off. Now, here comes the stragglers. Now, the next group of choppers that are just coming up Wilshire Boulevard, these are the guys that are going to be carrying out that high-value target. They're going to land, and then they're going to bring it out. And then here comes round two. This is the second group of choppers. They're going to land right there again in front of the Guatemalan House of Culture. And this is that big boy. That big chopper with all that special stuff. These are an elite team right here. And here they come, carrying that high-value target. Wearing what people have told me they believe are biological suits. Now, my sources told me that this group of people, they are not performing the drill. The training is in Long Beach, and that's why the Long Beach stuff has come out from the media. This stuff right here was never meant to be filmed. It was supposed to be the real operation, while Long Beach was the distraction. Now, the Guatemalan House of Culture is apparently scheduled to be demolished next month. And the high-value target that they took out is supposed to be some type of Plan Z, like I've theorized in the past. Now, the guys doing this operation, this is supposed to be a private military unit that is controlled exclusively by the president. They took the best of the best special ops guys, they put them together, and they used the organization of this new Space Force that President Trump has created to align all of these guys, all of the best of the best special ops guys from all of these other places, and they brought them together, and the president is in control of all of them. Now, they are removing a high-value biological target that was meant to be inside that building when it was demolished. When that happened, it would have spread whatever it was, Ebola, something horrible. It would have spread it all across the city, and there would have been an outbreak here in America. But that's the story. That's the story that I was told. Now let's keep taking a look. So here we have Girardi Reese. That is that building right there. And this is the Guatemalan House of Culture. This is Wilshire Boulevard, which is where those helos landed. And this is that building I showed pictures of. Actually, it will be later in the video now that I've recut this. Of the sides of the building, the windows that have all been blown out because they did an extraction. They went in, they breached, and then they extracted that biological target that was inside that building. And right here, MIL Spec Ops Monkey says, what are the odds that the very building where we saw the MIL Op training take place is owned by lawyer Thomas Girardi, the guy who is handling the Allison Mack and Keith Raniere trafficking case? Remember that. I said that the other night. Girardi is the lawyer for Allison Mack and Keith Raniere, NXIVM. This was the Plan Z for the deep state, for the D's, for the Hillerats, for the Democrats, the deep state. This was their Plan Z. They were going to use it to completely wipe out America because they know that they are on their last leg. Here we have some more graphics that are spectacular. Just pointing out these things here on the street so that they can match it to Google Maps right here. This, again, is the Guatemalan House of Culture. It's 1701 Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles, California. Some more information about Thomas Girardi. Thomas Vincent Girardi was born on June 3rd, 1939 in Denver, Colorado. He was famous for that PG&E case, the Aaron Brockovich. He's the lawyer from Aaron Brockovich. Did you guys know that Albert Finney, the man who played him in Aaron Brockovich, died this day? On the day they did this raid, he died? What do you think the chances of that are? Very interesting. All right, so now here, this is a building that was torn down that would have been right here, but that is the corner of that building, they're saying. There it is, right there on Google Maps. There is the front of it right there. This is where they came out. These are the pictures that I showed, which are all boarded up. This is completely blown out now because they did the extraction. Looks like one time this was the Global Lighting Organization. And here is the Guatemalan House of Culture on Google Maps. Right there. There's Wells Fargo. There's the building that they evac that stuff out of. Now, apparently, there's a metro line that runs directly underneath it. That's the red line right here. And this is the Standard Hotel. Standard Hotel, subway, tunnels, Guatemalan House of Culture, ending right there at Wilshire in Vermont, in Los Angeles, California. Here is another excellent graphic showing this off. That's where the Black Hawk landed. That's Wells Fargo. Right here. This is the Guatemalan House of Culture. That was the glow lighting right there. And then here is Girardi Reese. Here we've got some more pictures for you. Wells Fargo again. Live on the ground. These guys went in there and they figured it out. That is the helo. There it is landing on the top of a building, looks like. And there it is in the light of day. Just so you guys can get a good view. All right, now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And there is the high-value target. That biological. I swear to God, guys, I can't tell you who told me this. This person is a decorated military veteran. All right? This is an elite force of soldiers put together to serve at the pleasure of the president. They sent them in because they needed to have total and complete alliance with the president. They could not afford to send in deep state people to even have the chance that these guys would be deep state. So they went in, they got this out, and they saved the day because this building is going to be demolished next month. The other building right next to it has already been torn down. There it is, 1150. Gone. This is the company Glow Lighting that was right next to it. And for this chopper dig, he says, in this video I link here, 11 men can clearly be counted leaving from a building at 1150 Wilshire Boulevard. Follow along with the pictures for my deductions. 2 of the men are carrying a box of some kind. There are 4 to 5 choppers in the bid. So is it possible one of them landed in front of Wells Fargo? 1150 Wilshire is the weird-looking building with the roll-up door. More digging is required, but Google Maps said it belonging to Global Lighting Organization, which looks like an importer of Chinese LED tubes. Incidentally, neither LAPD or SWAT have Black Hawk helicopters. These are Black Hawk helicopters. These have the refueling probe attached, clearly visible. Black Hawks can carry 11 men, unlike LAPD choppers. Now, we know that this is a Black Hawk because we've already seen this. I have been told that these guys are an elite force, and they removed a high-value biological target. Now, don't forget, Nexium. Nexium is deeply involved with this. They are deeply involved with the deep state. They are deeply involved with Adam Schiff. Remember, Mac is naming names, big names in Hollywood, government, local, federal, proof, the Standard Hotel, that helicopter crash, all related. Future will prove past. Adam Schiff. Feeling okay, buddy? Why is the Mexico border Long Beach port so important? TikTok, LLC. Adam Schiff and Glenn Simpson had that undisclosed meeting in Aspen last year. Why do you think it was so important for Adam Schiff? He could not afford to have his stuff figured out. It's not just the one thing, it's everything. It's the drugs, it's the trafficking. It is that deep state, Plan Z. Now, going back to Long Beach, track all suicides. Example 1, think Spade. Trace to Children's Foundation, New York. Trace to import, export. Trace to China, Mexico, to Long Beach. Trace sale, spinoff of company. Trace to Clinton Foundation. Trace to port, security clearance, profile, L5. Who granted? Hussein, HRC, expect a lot more. Adam Schiff, feeling okay, buddy? Why is the Mexico border, Long Beach port so important? Tick-tock. Now, why did I want to make sure that we highlighted that port and the P8 Poseidon over it? Because the feds just seized 1.7 tons of meth and other drugs at Long Beach port. 6 people have been arrested after federal agents seized more than 1.7 tons of drugs stashed inside audio speakers that were being shipped from Long Beach to Australia. The shipment included 3,810 pounds of methamphetamine, along with 56 pounds of cocaine and 11.5 pounds of heroin, federal authorities said. Officers with U.S. Customs and Border Protection seized 3 shipping containers containing the drugs on January 11th at the Los Angeles Long Beach seaport. Following an investigation, federal authorities in Australia this week arrested 2 U.S. citizens and 4 Australian citizens. Federal officials say the seizure dealt a significant blow to the drug trafficking organization behind the shipments. Along with our law enforcement partners here and around the world, we continue in a day-to-day battle against the blight of methamphetamine that continues to devastate our communities, said Joseph Macias, Special Agent in charge for Homeland Security Investigations, Los Angeles. Through a collaborative effort, pooling our information, resources, and expertise, we are keeping this dangerous contraband from reaching our streets and potentially saving lives. These operations took place at the beginning of the week. We had the stuff going on in Long Beach. We had the P8 Poseidon circling over the port of Long Beach right there, or radiological device. We have the seizure of nearly 2 tons of drugs. All right, so this right here is why this is so important. This is why it was highlighted to us previously as this port, this area being so important. You think Adam Schiff doesn't have his fingers involved in this? Besides having his fingers involved in Nexium, the Standard Hotel, all of this stuff in California, you better have another think. All right, now from the outlaw Josie Wales, this is incredible. That plant, no coincidences. Handlers for FLOTUS set the stage for her and Prince Harry. Would you look at that? Do you think that's a coincidence, guys? Do you think that's a LARP now? All for a LARP? No. FLOTUS did this on purpose. This is so obviously the letter Q. Incredible. I wonder what Prince Harry thought when he sat down and saw that, or if he even noticed. I'm sure he's probably been briefed on this whole thing before. All right, so now this is great. This is Senator Lindsey Graham, chairman of the committee responsible for oversight of the DOJ and FBI, just announced he will be issuing subpoenas for anyone who signed or was involved in the FISA warrant on Carter Page. At a minimum, that includes James Comey, Rod Rosenstein, and Sally Yates. Thank you, real-based MAGA. Let's take a listen to what good old Lindsey has to say.
Well, so who are you poised to subpoena to get to the truth?
Okay, it was renewed 4 times. Anybody that signed the certification to the court that there was probable cause to believe that Carter Page was acting as an agent of a Russian entity, I want to know, all those people come forward and tell us, why did you certify to the court that there was probable cause? And did you know that the dossier was paid for by the Democratic Party? Apparently, Mr. Orr, Bruce Orr, whose wife worked at Fusion GPS, told McCabe and other senior DOJ officials that Mr. Steele, the author of the dossier, hated Trump, was very politically biased, and they went forward anyway.
Yes.
Again, if the shoe were on the other foot, and this was the Republican Party hiring a foreign agent to investigate Hillary Clinton, it would be front page news all over the world. This, to me, is Exhibit A of how in the tank the media is for the anti-Trump agenda.
Yeah, and I want to point out that that is exactly the opposite of what Adam Schiff keeps saying till this day, even though we did get all of that information during the Bruce Orr testimony. We learned a lot from from that testimony. And I guess if you're talking about who signed that FISA warrant, that includes Rod Rosenstein and Sally Yates. They will be subpoenaed then.
Well, it was renewed 4 times, and I want to find out, or ask Davis it publicly without the dossier, there would have been no warrant received. And the document, the dossier, was prepared by a foreign agent, a Democrat. Information in the dossier to this day is a bunch of garbage, and it was the foundation of a warrant against an American citizen, and it was a politicized document. Again, if the shoe were on the other foot, this would be major news.
Yeah, for sure. Look, the video is bad.
So, as Senator Graham just said, if the shoe was on the other foot and the Republicans hired someone, a foreign asset, to create a fake dossier about Hillary Clinton, as soon as that came out, there would be blood in the streets. All right? So not only did Bruce Ohr warn the FBI and his partners at the DOJ of Christopher Steele's bias, they also would have known that Carter Page was an FBI informant, a former FBI informant. So the idea that he would have been working for the Russians is completely ludicrous. They knew it was fake from the start. So all these people, Comey, Rosenstein, Yates, maybe not Rosenstein because he's playing for our team now, but Yates, all of these individuals at the FBI, they are in serious trouble. The FBI and the DOJ under the Obama administration is going to come take their chickens home to roost. Things are about to get messy, folks, and don't tell me that nothing's happening. All right, so here is a tweet that I shared the other day. I forgot to put it in my video over the weekend from MIL SPEC OPS Monkey. This is actual pictures from that building, the Guatemala Cultural Building, that we saw the item being carried out by those special ops soldiers the other day. Let's take a look at these photos. Here, you can see all these windows are blown out because this building was breached. Now, if this was just a training exercise, do you think that a building owner in downtown Los Angeles, whether this building was vacant or not, do you think that they would have allowed for them to just come in and smash out all these windows or blow them out with an explosive charge? I highly think not. This is private property. They make buildings like this out in the middle of the desert so that these guys can practice and blow out windows. Now, the only reason they would be blowing out windows on a private citizen's building is if they were going inside to retrieve something that was so important, it required an operation in the middle of a populated area. So this right here, in my opinion, is clear-cut evidence of the fact that this building was breached. It was not a training exercise. It was a mission. And they went in and they took something out, a high-value target. If you want to see this tweet, it will be on my Twitter feed, or you'll be able to find it in the comments below. And another little nugget from Twitter here. This is Circuit Slave. I believe that this photo is probably a doctored photograph, but it shows people putting up a post from our favorite Anon, the one where he says, "We never left, it's time to return publicly." I just thought that it was so awesome. The idea that these guys would be plastering this to the side of a building, it's a great morale booster for me. I love looking at this picture. It's just amazing. So I thought you guys would enjoy seeing it. Next, also from the Gateway Pundit, Elizabeth Warren suggests President Trump is going to prison. He may not even be a free person by 2020. That's how she's planning on winning. Oh, fake Indian Elizabeth Warren made an appearance in Cedar Rapids, Iowa on Sunday to kick off her 2020 presidential campaign. Warren immediately attacked the president and suggested that Trump might be in prison by 2020. Every day there's a racist tweet, a hateful tweet, something really dark and ugly, and what are we as candidates, as activists, as the press gonna do about it, Warren said. You know, here's what bothers me. By the time we get to 2020, Donald Trump may not even be president. In fact, he may not even be a free person, Warren continued as a handful of low-energy people in the crowd cheered. Let's listen.
Every day, there's a racist tweet, a hateful tweet, something really dark and ugly. And what are we as candidates, as activists, as the press going to do about that? We're going to chase after those every day? Are we going to let him use those to divide us? You know, here's what bothers me. By the time we get to 2020, Donald Trump may not even be president.
10 or 15 people.
In fact, he may not even be a free person. But here's how I see it. Donald Trump is not the only problem we've got. Yeah, Donald Trump is the symptom of a badly broken system. So our job, as we start rolling into the next election, is not just to respond on a daily basis. It's to talk about what we understand that is broken in this country, talk about what needs to be done to change it, and talk about how we're going to do that. Because that is not only how we win, it's how we make the change we need to make.
Same 10 or 15 people clapping. You know what else is amazing here? That 10 retweets, 22 likes. You guys aren't going to win. Oh, you're not going to win. Oh, Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren officially launched her 2020 presidential bid on Saturday at an outdoor rally at Everett Mills and painted a picture of doom and gloom. The Trump campaign immediately released a statement after Elizabeth Warren formally launched her presidential run and called the Democrat Massachusetts senator a fraud. Elizabeth Warren has already been exposed as a fraud by the Native Americans she impersonated and disrespected to advance her personal career, and the people of Massachusetts she deceived to get elected, Trump's campaign manager, Brad Parscale, said. The American people will reject her dishonest campaign and socialist ideas like the Green New Deal that will raise taxes, kill jobs, and crush America's middle class. Only under President Trump's leadership will America continue to grow safer, secure, and more prosperous, Parscale added. Parscale is absolutely correct. Elizabeth Warren is a fraud, and she used her fake Native American heritage to advance her career. So when is Elizabeth Warren going to be punished for lying on her Texas State Bar registration card? In her own handwriting, Elizabeth Warren stated she was an American Indian on her Texas State Bar registration card. Warren is a fraud and should be held accountable for her lies and deceit. There it is, right there. Race, American Indian. Elizabeth Warren is a white woman. Elizabeth Ann, was that Hemming Warren? Yep. Sorry. I'm just surprised she didn't mark down that she had a physical handicap. Ruh-roh, New York Democrats can eliminate radical socialist Ocasio-Cortez's district after 2020. That's a typo. Oh, too bad. Democrats in New York State may redraw their map to eliminate radical socialist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez district after the 2020 election. As reported earlier, some House Democrats are privately floating the idea of a primary challenge for freshman Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The Pelosi wing of the Democrat Party is not happy with their new socialist superstar. Ada Chavez at The Intercept reported, following the 2020 census, every state will draw new district boundaries to reflect changes in the population, the political implications of which will stretch for at least the next decade. In 2014, New York approved a constitutional amendment establishing a nonpartisan redistricting commission, which is set to take over the redistricting process starting in 2020. The 10-member commission, meant to be independent from the legislature, is made up of individuals selected by leaders from the state Senate and Assembly, and the original 8 members pick 2 additional members. But Ocasio-Cortez's most determined adversaries are not partisan Republicans, but Democrats who say she has been a disruptive influence. The Hill recently reported that at least one member of Congress has been urging New York Party leaders to recruit a Democrat primary challenger to Ocasio-Cortez, but the news led to a surge of donations to Ocasio-Cortez, suggesting that a more efficient means of ousting her might be to simply eliminate her district. Hilarious. I cannot wait to see what happens with this. Of course, she is riling feathers there in New York because she is essentially destroying the Democratic Party even more than they already have destroyed themselves. She is affirming their destruction, we'll say that. All right, now in breaking news from the Gateway Pundit, a federal judge has declined to block the citizenship question from the U.S. 2020 census. Thank God. Thank God. A federal judge ruled on Friday the U.S. government can include citizenship question on the U.S. Census. It makes complete sense, so of course Democrats are against it. It also affects how much federal funding the sanctuary communities will receive from American taxpayers, so of course Democrats are against this. Okay, so finally, this is from the court decision. Finally, the plaintiff argues that its members will be irreparably harmed if and when their own citizenship data is collected. But this harm, too, is neither imminent nor certain. The parties agree that the Bureau will not mail any questionnaires until January 2020 at the earliest. And again, even that will only happen if the permanent injunction already in effect is vacated or reversed on appeal. In short, the plaintiff has not demonstrated a certain injury of such imminence that there is a clear and present need for equitable relief to prevent irreparable harm. The failure alone, like the failure to show a likelihood of success on the merits, provides an independent ground for denying its motion. For the foregoing reasons, the court will deny the plaintiff's motion for a preliminary injunction. A separate order accompanies this memorandum opinion. Now, a federal judge ruled late Friday she is unconvinced of an imminent need to block a citizenship question from the 2020 census over privacy concerns. U.S. District Judge Dabney Friedrich declined to issue a preliminary injunction requested by a privacy and civil liberties nonprofit group, the Electronic Privacy Information Center. The group argued that the U.S. Census Bureau was required to complete a privacy impact assessment before Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross announced the addition of the question. In response, the government acknowledged it is required to update its privacy impact assessments, but must do so before collecting census responses, rather than before deciding what questions would appear. Now, if there is something that makes sense to me ever on a census-taking document, it would be asking whether or not the person taking that census was a citizen of the country in which they were taking the census. It just makes complete and total sense. The fact that these people want to block it, they are just trying to protect their sanctuary city status. They are trying to keep as many illegals in their cities and states as possible because they know that it's good for them and their elections. It's not good for the American people. It's not good for the United States of America. It is not good for anything here. It's good only for the people coming here illegally. But even then, it will not be good for them soon enough because the United States is going to turn into a third world country should this behavior be allowed to continue. All right, everyone, that's all I have for you today. I want to thank you very much for joining me. I am Red Pill 78, the corruption detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.